It separates them.
Good evening, members, staff and gallery. Welcome to the May 20 meeting of Council. Acknowledgement of country. We meet here in the spirit of respect, cooperation and collaboration. We pay tribute to those who came before us as we seek to grow our understanding, connection, knowledge and our heritage and culture. We pay respects to the traditional custodians of these lands and European settlers whose customs and traditions have been passed down through 6 generations. The agenda went out with an apology from Councillor Hearn, but welcome back. Thank you. Item 2.1.1 is the council meeting held, confirmation of the council meeting held on Tuesday the 15th of April 2025 at 5:30 and the special council meeting held on Monday the 12th of May 2025 at 5:30. Someone moved that those, Councillor De Vries and seconded Councillor Lane. All those in favour? Carried. There was a matter arising there with the variations to practice directions 8 to do with council swimming pool inspections. It's there for noting. Page 21 is the Mayor's report. Is there any questions? I might add, as you can see, it's been a significant month of highlights throughout the Barossa and a tremendous promotion of the Barossa. So, any questions? Moved Councillor Evans and seconded Councillor Hearn. All those in favour? Carried. I might just add that we did have the formal opening of the Barossa United Precinct at Newry on Sunday, and that was a really successful day. Along with the Adelaide City played the Adelaide United. That's it, yes. We won. 3-1. Oh, 3-1. Yeah, it was, yeah, no, very good. Good crowd. Well done to all involved. Matters for information. Is there any questions with regard to those matters for information on item 6? We'll move on to the debate report. The 7.1.1 is the complaint against Councillor Priest, tabling investigation findings and recommendation outcomes. Councillor Priest.
Yes, I wish to seek leave to give a personal explanation through the chair. I just need to, that would be leave of the meeting. Is this to do with these items? Yeah, exactly. You've said 7.1, yep.
I just might point out it may be a conflict if you address these items.
No, I'm not going to address the items.
Okay. So that has to be with the leave of the meeting, as I understand. 2/3. The leave of the meeting. All those in favour? Yep.
2 minutes, Mayor.
Okay. 2 minutes?
2 minutes.
5 minutes. I'm allowed 5 minutes legally.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. But I just point out it can't be in relation to these meetings, or it could be a conflict.
I've had this gone over legal, so. You okay now?
Yes.
Okay. Leave granted. Okay, thank you, fellow elected members. I stand and speak before you tonight to make a personal statement in regard to the following agenda items titled Complaint Against Councillor Priest, Tabling of Investigation Findings and Recommended Outcomes. I do not wish to go into detail in regard to each alleged complaint, as the purpose of my personal explanation to you tonight is to seek your support for procedural fairness in this case. My simple request of you tonight is to grant me an extension of time for me to fully respond to the allegations made against me using the advice of my principal legal advisor. Unfortunately, he had a long overseas trip organised and will be away until late June. As you can appreciate, I am not his only client, and to give him some reasonable time to assist me on his return, I sought an extension of time to August the 2nd, 2025. Furthermore, after my original response to the allegations laid against me, the council's lawyers, Kelly Jones, took 4 months to respond to my original responses. Even though that may seem overly long to respond, I accepted this, assuming I would be granted a similar amount of time to respond. This was not the case. They granted me 2 weeks. When I asked for an extension, it was refused. So they got 4 months and I get 2 weeks. That was their choice. I referred this matter to the Ombudsman, who asked that the matter be decided by Council before she looked at it. So I sought some legal advice on the procedures undertaken by Council's lawyers and was told that I had the right to procedural fairness and that 4 months was a reasonable length of time, taking into account all of the circumstances. So I seek your agreement for an extension for me to respond to Kelly Jones on these matters until August the 8th, 2025. Regardless of the outcome tonight, and that is in your hands, not mine, I will be referring the way this matter has been dealt with by the Council's lawyers and the administration to the Ombudsman. But that may not occur until next week or much later this year. Whilst you are thinking of how to vote on the next few matters, I want to ask each of you what you would want to see happen if you were in my position. Would you expect procedural fairness and that you were to receive a legal fair go in preparing your case? Whether you are considering voting totally in line with the lawyers' recommendations or to vote to reject all of them, or haven't made up your mind, or whatever, you would expect the Council's lawyers, the Council's administration, the Council itself to give you procedural fairness in listening to your side of the story. You never know if one day, though you may be perfectly innocent, you may find yourself under investigation. I hope that the day never comes for you. I believe one of the great pillars of Australian society and the way our country is run is that we have the rule of law. We have the principle that people are innocent until proven guilty, and that those accused of wrongdoing are given procedural fairness in ensuring investigations. You would expect it for yourself, and I ask you to provide that to me tonight by voting to give me until August the 8th, 2025, to respond to the matters brought against you. Thank you.
Thank you. Just turn your mic off, please.
Your Worship, at the beginning of item 7.1, Your Worship, I wish to declare a material conflict of interest in respect to items 7.1.1 to 7.1.5, as they are in regard to investigations and proposed actions to be taken against me as part of Council's behavioural standards for Council members, and therefore I shall leave the chamber and take no part in the debate.
I'd like to declare a conflict of interest in items 7.1.1, and I will leave the chamber while that item is being discussed, and I'll return at 7.1.2. Thank you.
I'd like to declare a material conflict of interest and will take no further part in this item. Thank you. Sorry, the conflict arises from the fact that I'm an originator of the complaints.
I would just like to declare that I have been named as a witness in item 7.1.5, but I don't believe that will affect my decision making, but thank you for noting.
Any questions? Councillor Barrett.
Before the meeting, there was an alternative motion. At what stage in the proceedings is that going to be considered?
We're just going to put up the...
Do you want me to answer?
Yep.
Through you, Mr Mayor, Councillor Barrett. The recommendation can be moved now, if that's what you so want to move. The alternative recommendation.
Can we just go down up the other way? Sorry, Janine, thank you.
So there's a recommendation 1. Hang on, I've got to get onto that page. So it's recommendation 1.
The amendments to the released recommendation are those highlighted in red, so fairly minor, or fairly minimal, I should say.
Can we just have time to...
So it's recommendation 1 with those amendments there, in red, as I understand it.
So we're not going to move anything here, that's just for later on?
No.
That's for now.
We're dealing with this recommendation, 1 and 2, those 2 paragraphs.
It's like any recommendation.
Yep.
Somebody moves it, seconds it, debates it, or puts something alternative up.
So does that preclude what's in from 7.1 onwards? Are we still going to be looking into 7.1?
Yes.
Yes, all of those will come up.
Oh, okay.
We're just dealing with this first recommendation to do with the matter, and that's why Councillor Schilling and Councillor Greatwich have removed themselves from the chair. Councillor De Vries.
Yes, I actually requested that the CEO put together a recommendation along these lines, just so that it was more specific to each of the individual complaints. So given that, and given that I'm happy with the wording, I'm willing to move recommendation 1.
Councillor Drew.
I'll second that recommendation as well.
So I'll let you speak to it, either one wish to speak?
Far from this being something recent, this is actually goes all the way back to February of last year, and I think that this has dragged on for a very long period of time. It frustrates me that the panel that was supposed to be created to prevent this sort of thing from actually having to occur, that there could be some independence, chose not to act, and I find that frustrating in the extreme. I don't believe that extending the process out another 4 months or however long is advisable. I think, to be honest, we need some closure on this. There is nothing in the information that's been presented towards us that I have any doubt is true. So I am very comfortable that procedure has been followed correctly, that fairness has been given, and I think that this is a reasonable response.
Yeah, I'd just like to add that I think that the Indigenous and cultural awareness training in this specific incident could be very beneficial, because it's, sometimes we just don't know what we don't know, and I do think this could give Councillor Priest a chance to just, think about the way he thinks. So that's why I'm recommending that this new recommendation is adopted.
Thank you, Mayor. I will be supporting the motion and all those that follow probably, because I think there is a track record here, a very distinct pattern that is showing no sign of changing, and I don't think any extension of time will change that. I think we need to take action, and take action now.
Councillor Barrett.
Yes, for the information of fellow councillors, on the morning of the 12th of December I received a text message from Councillor Priest, and I was actually forwarded a copy of the notice of motion he was going to put up, and without going to what he said to me, he basically asked me my views on it, and I'm happy to let other councillors know exactly my response. I won't speak about what he said to me, but I'll read in what my response was. I said, "Hello, Bruce. As a motion that meets all the necessary criteria However, on a personal level, I'm totally against the intent and consequences of the motion. I'm not sure if you're aware, I'm a member of the Council Reconciliation Committee. Many years ago, I obtained tertiary qualifications in Aboriginal studies, and throughout my working life, I've worked with and for Aboriginal people. In short, I'm probably the wrong person to seek support for this motion. In fact, if it is put up, I will speak against it, the motion, citing many reasons. And I sent that the same day as I received it. So, for the same reason, I'm like Councillor Angus. I had forewarning of it. I cautioned it very, very politely, and the motion proceeded. That's the information of fellow councillors.
All those in favour? Oh, sorry.
She can't speak, she's already spoken.
You've already spoken.
That's
Yeah.
what I thought.
She was going to say with the leave of the meeting, is that possible?
No, I think
You can do the leave or not.
with the leave of the meeting, but no, all right.
It's fine.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. There is a second recommendation that's been suggested also for you to consider as part of this first report. Can you just put that one up again for us? That's the one in red. Any questions? And seconded, Councillor De Vries. Either one wish to speak to it?
It's all very unpleasant, but no, I'm not going to add anything else.
Any further questions? If not, all those in favour? Carried. Just bring the other two councillors back into the meeting. On page 444, 1.1.2 is a complaint against Councillor Priest, tabling the investigation findings and recommendation outcomes. And if we just go to those recommendations. Any questions? And there's also been some further suggestions from the chamber as to add these additional items in red. Any questions?
Mayor, can you elaborate on the bullying and harassment towards staff? Are you able to elaborate on what actually occurred there, or is that not possible?
It's pretty well detailed in the report in regards to a matter with the outside work staff. Yes.
Right, that's
Yep.
the only one.
That-
Yeah.
That's the only formal one.
Right, yeah.
Sorry, just on account of the fact that I was out of the room just before, just to confirm that the red section there includes that's the expanded recommendations that were circulated, so that includes a motion of censure as well. That's the second recommendation. Great, I just couldn't see the bottom of the, yeah, okay, fantastic. Thank you. Yeah, so it's the one and then the two, yeah.
So it's recommendation one, and
Yep.
then we move to recommendation two, which is the censure motion.
Yep.
It's been suggested.
Thank you.
Councillor Greatness, you still got your line.
I do, I'm happy to move that if there's no other question.
Councillor Greatness, thank you. And seconded, Councillor Evans.
Only briefly, which is just that you know, and I don't know what the discussion was around the previous, but I just think it is so incredibly important that people be able to come to work with a sense of security and safety and be treated with respect. That shouldn't be some kind of exemplar of a standard. That should be the absolute basic standard that someone should be able to expect when they are working in any organisation. But the fact that this is local government, I think, makes that doubly, triply important. So I'm really pleased to see this be brought to this resolution, and I'd just really like to as well acknowledge the people who were prepared to formalise a complaint, because I know that's not an easy thing to do, and I think they should be commended for doing that.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, thank you, through the Mayor. Just very quickly to reiterate that I think a safe workplace is paramount, and everybody needs to be supported, and this is obviously, it's very unfortunate that this has come to our agenda, but it needs to be acknowledged, and hopefully it will never happen again. Thank you.
Sorry. Sure, and I just wanted to reiterate about the apology. I think that it speaks, a genuine apology speaks volumes to the community, and I think that we need to be sure that, as Councillor Greatwich has said, that the apology is not only between us but also to the community, and also to the public, the Indigenous community. I think these genuine apologies need to be made so that it's on public record that we have asked for that and that it's been given in a genuine manner. I just wanted to ensure that sort of respect so that the community know that we do not tolerate this kind of stuff in our chamber, because we need to be safe, our community needs to be safe, we need to be inclusive, we need to be caring and kind. So that's just all. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Yeah, the term duty of care looms large with this one. There was a huge power imbalance between ourselves and the staff, and the staff are not able to respond or to fight back if we are to get in their face and start to become aggressive. And that is almost the very definition of bullying, because when it's a one-sided arrangement, I don't care who gets in my face. If I can fight back, that's fair enough. But when you have your hands tied behind your back, then that's where it really is very unpalatable. So this one particularly bothers me because of that power imbalance and the complete inability of the staff to be able to respond. Yes, I'll absolutely be supporting this one.
Thank you, Mayor. What form would an apology take, and what forum would it be in? Would it be in the newspapers, etc.? How would that, the newspaper, as I see it, would be the only way it would get to the general public. Is that the case?
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Thanks, Councillor Hurd. No, it's actually an apology in the council meeting, which is then transcribed into the minutes. So that becomes public in that fashion, as well as obviously it's recorded.
So does that fit into just the public forum as such?
Correct, that's how it works.
Okay.
Thank you. Through the Mayor, could I just please confirm the wording, clarify in Part C, Councillor Priest issue a public apology which shall acknowledge he engaged staff contrary to the CEO's instructions and bullied and harassed. That's correct?
He engaged with staff.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, if it should be he engaged with staff, perhaps. Yes, please. Since I seconded it, if that's possible. If with the leave of... Is that acceptable? It's just a little clearer for someone reading it that may not have been familiar with the terms. Thank you.
Further comment? Councillor Greatwich, you wish to close the debate?
Only to say that I just wanted to pick up on the idea of a genuine apology. A genuine apology. And the reason that I say that is because I believe that the word that was used in the Kennedy-Jones report to describe Councillor Priest's response was disingenuous. To have 4 separate or 3 separate, and numerous people say his approach was aggressive, he yelled, he used this exact phrase, and then for the response to be, oh, no, I was actually saying, good on you, you've done a great job, that is a disingenuous response. And so I think, you know, it's impossible for us to police whether someone is genuinely apologising for something, but I think the fact that the response was so it was not a sincere acknowledgement of the harm that had occurred, means that I just want to emphasise that idea that an apology be genuine, or should be, ideally.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. We'll move to the second part of the recommendation, which is similar to the earlier one on the other item, which talks about the sense of motion. Someone like to, Councillor Greatwich?
I'm very pleased to move that.
Councillor Greatwich moves and seconded Councillor De Vries. Either one wish to speak to it? Any further comment? All those in favour? Carried. Item 7.1.3 is a complaint against Councillor Priest, tabling of the investigation findings and recommendation outcome on page 517. Page 517. Councillor Greatwich.
I would like to declare a material conflict of interest in this matter, and as I am the originator of the complaint. Before I leave the chamber, I just wanted to clarify, given the earlier comment, am I able, with the leave of the meeting, to add a brief sentence or two to my initial response, or does that's conflicted? Yeah, I thought so. Okay. Then I will excuse myself. Thank you.
Any questions?
Is that quite right?
No.
Just hang on a sec.
Can, were you there? Okay. So you witnessed this? Okay.
Okay, once again, there's been some suggestions as to some additional words that's been added from the one that was forwarded out as part of the agenda. Which takes on the similar... Councillor De Vries.
Yeah, just I guess this is a question for clarification. 3.3.1, present there was also Councillors Thompson, Evans, Hearn and Priest, obviously. Through you, I had a chance to confirm with Councillor Evans that her recollection was in line with this. I just wondered if Councillor Thompson and Hearn was you're nodding, Councillor Hearn, and Councillor. So this is totally supported. Okay, that's all I need to know.
Councillor Evans.
Through the Mayor, thank you. Just to confirm, any interaction that took place between Councillor Priest and Councillor Greatwich in the chambers that day would have been recorded on visual, would it not? Videoed? Video.
Depends on whether the mics come onto
Okay,
Probably not. Depends on who's
definitely.
speaking at the time. If I was speaking, the cameras would be on there.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
So there's the recommendations. Councillor Angus,
Yes, I'm happy to move that recommendation now.
move Councillor Angus. And seconded Councillor Troop. Either one wish to speak to it?
This is an unpleasant business, and I think we just need to get it over and done with. But it needs to be considered in the seriousness that it is. But there's no point in us all being silent around the room. We need to deal with it and move on to other business, more productive business.
Again, just an atmosphere in the chamber of mutual respect. We've always believed in that in this room and at the time that I've been in this room. And I really feel that we need to protect that. And we need to protect our staff and we need to protect each other. So that's why I'm seconding this motion.
Thanks, Your Worship. There's so much to say, isn't there? This council can't function if we don't respect each other, and we can't interact with each other in a way where we can trust each other, we can have jokes on occasion, we can be friendly, but we can also be serious as well. The idea that this would occur in a social setting is bad enough, but then to bring it into the chamber, I think, is, just to put this in context, today is roughly the 22nd anniversary of my getting on council. This is the first time that I've ever encountered anything like this, and I hope it's the last.
Earlier comment, Councillor Angus. I don't think you want to close the debate, so I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. You just bring those.
Don't we have to do a recommendation to you?
Do we vote on? Do we vote on?
Oh, I'm going to do that. Oh, yes, second recommendation I haven't done.
The second recommendation as well.
I'll second that, Mayor.
Moved Councillor Angus, seconded Councillor Hearn. All those in favour? Carried. Page 573, 7.1.4 is a complaint against Councillor Priest, tabling an investigation findings and recommendation outcome. Any questions? Once again, there's been some further words that's been added just to reinforce.
Yeah, I'll move this one, Your Worship.
Moved Councillor De Vries and seconded Councillor Greatwich. Councillor De Vries.
I'm actually surprised at how emotional I'm getting about this, because it's not so much anger, it's just, this is so distressing. It really is. I care about this chamber, I care about this council. And the enormity of what's happening is just starting to hit home. This really annoys me.
Yes? I was apoplectic with fury when I read this complaint, and I had to go and walk around the block and make myself a cup of tea, and I'm still furious, and I am so sad. I am this council's representative to the local council Rainbow Network, and I take that really seriously. Part of that commitment is to ensuring that there is a respectful environment in our council area for LGBTQI plus people. Oh, am I on my wrong soapbox, am I? Yeah. Great. I retract my statement. Oh, well, I'm still upset about soccer, absolutely, but I will restrain myself until next time. Thanks for the look, Councillor Schilling. I will cede.
Yes, I just wanted to echo Councillor De Vries's feelings at the moment, because it is a very uncomfortable situation to be in. I do remember that the day that this occurred, I was there that day, and it was unnerving to hear the comments that were being said as he wandered around the crowd. I take my role very seriously, as I know the rest of us do, and when you are elected into this role, you become public property, and when you're out in the community representing this council, you have to keep your personal comments to yourself. I don't always vote how I personally feel in this chamber, because I vote for what I've been, how the public have directed me, because I'm their representative. And yes, it's something that no one wants to do, but we need to put a clear message to the public that we have listened to what they have said, and that we are prepared to take action according to the rules and regulations that we've put down in our behavioural management policies. And I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I find this whole process rather distasteful, but it's something we must work through. And I'm going to bring to the attention of fellow elected members and any of the gallery, if they so care to listen and hear. This is not the first time that this has occurred with Councillor Priest's comments and behaviour in a public place. And I refer members specifically to the Prospect Council minutes from 2000 and, I'll give you the year, where the Ombudsman wrote that normally has to keep information about his inquiries confidential. And he wrote, however, if I consider the disclosure of that information is in the public interest, then I may authorise or require its disclosure. On this occasion, I consider the public interest is best served by this letter being provided to the public meeting of a council. And that is exactly what happened. And within that letter, there is information that provided to me that there was a affair on within the Prospect Council, and the allegations were at the time that Councillor Priest's behaviour was not at the required standard. Consequently, action was taken by council, and subsequent to that action, the Ombudsman then wrote his report, and I'll let the people know exactly what he said as he got to the end of his report in relation to it. And I'll be very, very brief because there's 3 dot points that Mr. Lyons highlighted. Once I find this page, turn around. That's better, I can read it now. The incident concerned Mr. Priest's manner and language towards a member of the public, whilst clearly inappropriate, the offence is in itself of a minor nature. Mr. Priest has offered an apology to Ms Nelson by way of an email sent on the 7th of April 2014, whereas he characterised his behaviour in the exchange as a misunderstanding. I consider that the apology was inadequate and perhaps self-serving, but I do note that the attempt to apologise was made by Mr. Priest. Mr Priest took leave of the council for the pre-election period September 2014 to November 2014 and did not return to the civic duties with the City of Prospect. So this is not the first time for Councillor Priest making comments in the public, and the outcome of it was, in light of my assessment above and on the basis of the evidence available, it appears that there is no public benefit in pursuing this matter further. Accordingly, I do not consider that the further inquiries into your complaint by my office are necessary or justifiable. So the Ombudsman chased that rabbit down the burrow as far as he could, and that's where it rested. And that was from what I can see, the last time Councillor Priest attended the Prospect Council. So this is not the first time, and that is a public document I referred to. If you go back through the minutes of the Prospect Council, that's all I've got to say.
Councillor De Vries, you wish to close the debate?
Yes, I will. This council cannot function without volunteers. We have a fantastic community spirit in the Barossa. You'll hear me banging on about heritage, lifestyle and community spirit a lot. And I take those words very seriously. To denigrate the efforts of the community, such as was done here, is beneath the role of a councillor.
Put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. And we'll move to recommendation 2, which is again the censure motion.
Yes, absolutely.
Councillor Vries moved and seconded Councillor Troop. Any further to say? No. Put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. Move to item on page 625.
So keep your gunpowder dry.
Which is with regard to a complaint against Councillor Priest, tabling of investigation findings and recommended outcomes. Any questions? And that's the further additional in red. CEO.
Mr Mayor, can I bring to the attention that there's been a further request for a fourth part of that resolution?
Oh, yes, that's right, yeah. The fourth part of that recommendation is that fourth part being 6 formal investigations and findings, multiple breaches of the behaviour standards by elected members, and the impacts and cost on ratepayers, residents and employees, and damaging council's reputation, calls on Councillor Bruce Priest to resign from the council forthwith from his position as an elected member of the Barossa Council. Any questions? Councillor Greatwich?
I was going to move it.
Greatwich? Seconded Councillor Angus. Speak to it, Councillor Greatwich.
Yes. Well, I'll skip over my first. I think that point was made. The second point that I really wanted to highlight, and forgive me if this has been said at part of the meeting where I haven't been in the room, is that we are paid for our role by the ratepayers of this community. And the reprehensible behaviour that has been detailed throughout these reports that were carefully and thoroughly investigated in accordance with full procedural fairness is so far beneath the basic standards of decency that we would expect to see in this community. The fact that our ratepayers collectively pay us for our time and our contribution, and this is the way that Councillor Priest is found to have behaved while in the performance of a formal duty representing this council, is appalling. I struggle to understand any justification or motivation in any way for this whatsoever. But I think one thing that I've been really conscious of in speaking with other local government elected members, other executive, in my role as Deputy Mayor, I've been very fortunate to attend a number of forums and those sorts of things with representatives from councils all across the state. And I've said this before, what we have here in the Barossa is really special. This is not the case everywhere, that we are collegiate and friendly and warm, and like the staff are allowed to speak to the elected members and vice versa. That isn't the universal situation in local government, regretfully. And it doesn't mean that we're a bunch of, rosy glass Pollyannas. It means that we have, over generations in our community, protected the cultural norms and standards that mean that we can get stuff done in this region that other people would dream of. We are an effective, impactful local government organisation that creates genuine benefit for our ratepayers. And I think that the reason that I'm very comfortable in moving this is that it sends a very strong message that this behaviour will not be tolerated. We will not allow this to be death by 1,000 cuts, or it just gets too hard to keep raising complaints. This is a clear line in the sand, and I endorse that position wholeheartedly.
Of course.
Thanks, Mayor. Like Councillor De Vries, I find this an emotive issue, and I entered the chamber in Angaston at the age of 44, and I'm now 70. I've seen some disruptive customers come and go, but none has been as disruptive as this customer. And he can be a very reasonable, constructive chap at some stages, but the evidence that has been put before us tonight just shows that there is so much, not to mention what has gone on in the past. We're judged by the standard that we accept, and if we just accept this standard, that tars us all with the same brush. So for me, we can only ask. So I support everything that Councillor Greatwich has said as well. This chamber is too valuable to lose the collegiate nature that it has enjoyed, for almost all my local government career. We've had ups and downs, but this one is something different, and I have never, ever called upon someone to resign. I might have wished they did, but such is the seriousness of it, so I urge you to support the motion.
Thank you, through the Mayor. I completely support Councillor Angus and Councillor Greatwich with their words. I just wanted to add to that and say that this is not about me personally, but I am very proud to be a part of this council as an elected member, and I think some of the qualities we need to possess and display and exercise in this role is to be able to work collaboratively and to uphold the values of our chamber and of our institution, and to have members of the public coming up to you and crying and in shock and dismay at what has been verbalised directly to them at certain events is just, it is quite shocking and it is quite appalling. And some of these people I have known for 20 years, and I know their integrity and I know them extremely well. And it just really has been quite a confronting process at times. So I just implore everyone to please consider the gravity and how important it is to have that cohesiveness and collaboration with us all moving towards the same goals. Thank you.
The community need us to respect each other, to respect them, to respect the Indigenous population, to respect all members that we come in contact with. I can't think of a motion that's ever been put that I've less wanted to have to vote on than this. This makes me sick. But we can't ignore what's been happening.
Just wanted to, through you, Mr. Mayor, just wanting to reiterate again, just to protect our own reputation. We have worked hard to get to this place of mutual respect, understanding. I understand that every single person around this room represents a different cohort of the Barossa, and I may not be in that cohort, but I am respectful of the fact that Don is a voice for someone, you are a voice for someone, and I covet that because I see that your link to the community is my link to the community. But also there's two parts to this particular agenda item, and I think there's part of me that just wants to protect our community as well, and all members of our community, just as much as we represent them, we must represent and protect every single group within that community, whether we believe, understand, relate to it, it's out of our generation, it's confusing, doesn't matter, they're in our community. And I just feel that we need to really protect the vulnerable in our community, people who don't think like the general norm, people who are in a minority, and I feel that that is one of our mandates to do that as well, and this particular agenda item certainly reflects that, and I do think that this is damaging our reputation if we don't take a stand. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I think this evening I concur with all of the comments that have been made, that it is a very difficult situation. Councillor Priest has been good on many occasions, but I agree with Councillor Angus that, and Councillor Grace, which there is a line in the sand, and once you close that line, we had some ripper of debates when we were in the Anguston chambers in the good old days. But Councillor Angus is smiling now. But in all seriousness, I think in the 15 years that I've been a councillor, that the debate around this chamber, we've got millions of dollars worth of projects either nearly finished or going to be started. And without the chamber agreeing and even like getting streets in Anguston finally done, and Councillor Angus with things in Tanunda with projects. So somewhere along the line, as Councillor De Vries said, we might agree to disagree, but in the end there's consensus and we move on. Unfortunately, in this time, I'm getting emotional too, that there's been lots of times where the same old argument comes to the fore, and I'm over it. 10 councillors seem to be able to move on and one doesn't. So I agree with, it's been a really sensible conversation this evening, and I thank my fellow councillors for that.
I think we've just gone through the hassle of making this councillor do training after training after training after training to just line him up and wipe him out. I don't like what's going on at all. I can hear what everyone else is saying, but I don't like it. I don't like what we're suggesting to. Maybe he appeals to a certain demographic within the council, within the community. I think to line someone up after going through all of this and shoot them out the end, I don't like this motion at all. So I won't be supporting it. I don't like it.
Mayor, may I just make a comment, a point of order? Yes. We are not, we can only ask Councillor Priest to resign. We can't make him.
Yeah, I would like to close the debate, and in doing so, I acknowledge the position of Councillor Lane. I also agree that in a democracy, there are people who appeal to different demographics or who represent different positions. Our democracy is stronger for the fact that we have differing opinions, and goodness only knows that, you know, Councillor Priest and I fall diametrically opposed on pretty much everything on the face of the planet, except for, of course, the might of the great Port Adelaide Football Club. But I think that is actually the point, is that Councillor Hearn and I disagree on various things. We all disagree on various things at different times. But the fact that Councillor Priest has consistently shown an inability to do so respectfully and collaboratively and collegiately, that means that I feel comfortable with this position. I also just wanted to say, again, I used the phrase disingenuous, which I think was repeated in the Kelledy-Jones report. The disingenuous nature of the responses from Councillor Priest to all of these complaints leads me to the only conclusion that I can draw from the responses that we've seen from Councillor Priest is that there is not a desire for genuine change, genuine improvement of behaviour, genuine reconciliation with the people that have been hurt or offended or harmed. And that's part of the reason why I feel very comfortable with moving this motion, because it is a defiant position. It's unrepentant is a biblical phrase, but it is a defiant position. If the position that had come back, or the response from Councillor Priest to any of these complaints, had been something along the lines of, you know what, I made a mistake. Everyone in this chamber, I have made mistakes. I have called people and apologised for the way that I have spoken to them before in my life, and it is really hard and it feels awful, but it is the right thing to do. The nature of these responses are downplaying, dismissing, flat out, untruths. And that is why I feel really comfortable putting the motion to request that he consider resigning. And the final thing that I would like to say is, if this motion is passed, which I very much hope that it will be, let it be that line in the sand, and let it be clearly, explicitly understood that if Councillor Priest does not resign and continues to sit in the chamber, it will be against the will of the people in this room who have expressed their unwillingness to let this behaviour continue unabated.
That closes the debate. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Motion is carried. We have the second recommendation there also. Councillor Hearn moved, and seconded Councillor Greatwich. Say anything more? Okay. Put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. Okay, we'll move on to 7.2.1. Yeah, Kerry.
Can I move that we have a 5-minute break?
You're allowed to, yeah?
I'd like to move that we have a 5-minute break.
Okay. Seconded, councillor Greatwich. All those in favour? 5-minute break. Thank you. We'll reconvene about 25 to 7. Oh, well, David.
Yeah, technically you should have.
Yeah, David, just, can you just bring Bruce back and then I'll move that I'll get that motion again, because I need him back in the chamber for that.
Yes, it was to present.
Councillor Breeze, I'll take that motion again.
I move that we take a 5-minute break.
Thank you. And seconded, councillor Greatwich. All those in favour? Those against? You didn't vote, councillor? I didn't know what we're voting. We're going to take a 5-minute break. Okay. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. Okay, councillors, we'll resume the meeting. We'll, on item 7.2.1 is the Audit and Risk Committee appointment of presiding member on page 707. I'll just wait if you've got the recording going. Thank you. Page 707. Any questions? Councillor Angus.
I will move Peter Brass be the independent presiding member, who's a very, very good, experienced fellow.
Move Councillor Angus, seconded Councillor Barrett. Either one wish to speak to it? Okay. Any further comment? All those in favour? Carried. On page 723 is the office closure, all staff mid-year event on 723. Any questions?
Elected members or not? Is it those?
Move Councillor De Vries and seconded Councillor Lane. Either one wish to speak to it? No further comment? Okay. All those in favour? Carried. 726 is the variation to delegations register, and they're the updates to legislation. 726. Any questions? Councillor Vries moved, seconded Councillor Troop. Either one wish to speak to it? No further comment? All those in favour? Carried. Monthly finance report as of the 30th of April 2025 on page 737. Any questions? Move Councillor De Vries, seconded Councillor Hearn. Either one wish to speak? No further comment. All those in favour? Carried. Page 740 is the Nuriopta Centenary Park Authority Audit and Risk Committee Terms of Reference 2025 review on page 740. Any questions? Moved Councillor De Vries, seconded Councillor Troop. Either one wish to speak?
No, thank you.
No further comments. All those in favour? Carried. Page 749 is the quarter three budget review for 24-25 annual budget as of the 31st of March 2025. Page 749. Any questions?
Move the recommendation.
Move Councillor Angus, seconded Councillor Lane. Either one wish to speak? All those in favour? Carried. Page 772. 772 is the road naming, land division, 53 to 57 Kalimna Road, Nuriopta, allotment 200 Research Road, and a number of allotments there on Research Road. Any questions? Councillor Greatwich.
I would just like to understand whether it's possible, having read the manner in which the names are selected and the criteria for selection, which is included in the report, whether there is some means by which we can introduce some gender parity into our naming considerations. It just strikes me that it's in the far minority that they're named for women. I know that they're recommended, but I'm just wondering if there's any scope to include that as part of the consideration.
That can be included in any policy at any time, but I'll hand over to the Director.
Through you, Mr Mayor, we're actually doing a review of this naming policy, so we can make sure that's included as a part of that review to be presented to council in the not distant future.
Any further questions? There's some recommendations for those various
Move the
road
recommendation,
names.
Your Worship.
Moved councillor De Vries, and seconded councillor Hearn. Either one wish to speak to it?
Seem like good choices.
I think Mrs Klemowitz would be proud.
Okay. All those in favour? Carried. On page 786, 7.3.2 is the Sturt Highway Stormwater Infrastructure Installation and Maintenance on section 211, Deed of Agreement. Any questions? Moved councillor Angus and seconded, I think, councillor Evans. Either one wish to speak? Any further comment? All those in favour? Carried. Page 810 is the tree removal, Angus Street, Tanunda. Any questions? And seconded, councillor Barrett. Either one wish to speak to it?
Just a little bit. It's been an ongoing saga, and I hope we can do better next time, but thank the staff.
Well, I'll just point out, next time, what's has happened here is we've followed policy.
Yes.
That's what's happened.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Okay. Councillor Barrett, you wish to speak?
No, nothing, sir.
Okay. All those in favour?
Sorry. Reluctantly.
Carried. Page 118 is the proposed road closure for the MSS Safety Rally in the Barossa on page 818, 7.3.4. Any questions? Moved councillor Evans, seconded councillor Angus. Either one wish to speak to it?
No, thank you.
It's a change from football.
Yes, it's another event. Good. All those in favour? Carried. Road naming land division, Keith Street, Tanunda, on page 823. Any questions? Move councillor De Vries. Second councillor Greatwich. Either one wish to speak to it? No further comment. All those in favour? Carried. (7.3.6) is a minor amendments to the non-current asset accounting policy on page 827. Any questions?
Well, I think yes. But not really seriously. Why can you go from 500 to 530 years for a road? I mean, I'm glad it does, and it is the land under it. Yeah, but so why is it 500, not 1,000? Any rhetorical question, don't answer. I'm happy to move it.
And I've got to answer through you, Mr Mayor. Thank you, councillor Angus. I would argue that there should be no depreciation for the earth. It's already been here for 4.5 billion years. But anyhow, some accounting standards gurus come up with that idea.
And originally it never used to be accounted either, so, yeah. So, move councillor Angus, and I had a seconder, did I? Yeah, councillor Greatwich. Any further? Thank you. All those in favour? All those carried. Page 830, 7.4.1 is the Building Inspection Policy Review on page 830. Any questions? Move Councillor Lane and seconded Councillor Hearn. Either one wish to speak? Any further comment? All those in favour? Carried. Page 841, 7.4.2 is the appointment of officers to the Building Fire Safety Committee. Any questions? Moved Councillor Evans and seconded Councillor Angus. Either one wish to speak? No further comment. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. 7.4.3 on page 854 is the Barossa Bush Garden Strategic Plan 2025-2030 on page 854. Any questions? Councillor Greatwich.
No, I was going to move it.
Councillor Schilling, you have second. Either one wish to speak to it?
Yeah, just briefly, in a general endorsement of the extraordinary work that the Bush Gardens Committee and their volunteers do, I noted with interest in the strategic plan, one of the critical challenges that they identify is that not many people, they say not enough people, know about the Bush Gardens or what it has to offer. And I feel like oftentimes when challenges come to this chamber, you know, sometimes there are things we can do, sometimes we're really hamstrung in what we can, but surely this is an area where council can bang the drum and amplify that in a whole range of different ways. So I'd just like to offer that as something that we can do that's not around, you know, providing money or it's in-kind support. But I think also that we probably can all play a role in that as well in terms of, I know that whenever we have people visiting, I say, you've got to go to the Bush Gardens. It's one of those things where just because it's in our backyard, we get a bit desensitised to it, I think. It just becomes a bit of like our everyday experience, but actually it's an extraordinary facility. The people and the volunteers that run it are extraordinary also, and I really commend this plan. It's a strong, robust strategic plan, and I'd love for council to lend its support any way that can in that in-kind sphere.
Thank you.
Thank you for stealing my thunder, Councillor Greatwich. It's like you took the words out of my mouth, but more eloquent. I would just like to say that I was part of this strategic plan process, and the team that we have at the Barossa Bush Gardens are absolutely incredible and all extremely passionate about that site and what's happening there. And in the 6 years I've been sitting on that committee, the team that we have in place there now are absolutely fantastic, and the things that are happening out there are truly commendable, and I would like to speak a little bit more about it on the next item, if I may.
They're both stolen my thunder. For my sins, I was at a sausage sizzle cooking on behalf of the RSL up out the front of Mitre 10 on Saturday, and the topic of the Bush Gardens was raised by people there and probably took 20, 25 minutes of everybody's time just raving about how wonderful it is. So you'd be surprised how many people are aware, but yeah, it's something that I'm very proud of, and I think we all are. They are to be commended.
No further comment. All those in favour? Carried. 7.4.4 is consideration and adoption of committee resolutions, the Barossa Bush Gardens.
Would like to move that, Your Worship?
Moved Councillor Schilling and seconded Councillor Troop. Councillor Schilling.
I would love to speak about
I
this
thought you
item.
might.
Thank you. Yes, at our last meeting, the committee did ask me to bring a couple of projects to your attention, one being the Nature and Natter program, which is a disability support program which is at risk. It only costs up to $10,000 a year to run. It's a wellbeing project that has been run in conjunction with Carers and Disability Link, but that's their funding that they were putting towards it ceased in December 2024. Volunteers coordinate that program with Penny and Kim, our paid staff, and they have highlighted that it's very beneficial to the participants and their carers. It looks at only 8 to 16 people, clients and carers. It's the intimate nature of the group is part of its impact. One attendee called it a lifesaver because it's the only physical activity out of household duties that they are involved in. So it supports a small group of people living with dementia in providing a safe, accessible and appropriate place. They propagate plants through the group and they donate those plants to the Barossa Wildlife Kangaroo Sanctuary. I'd also just like to mention the Reconciliation Day, which is always, we could do more, and I go, why are you always hesitating about what you can and can't do? And they go, because we haven't got enough funding. So I'd like you to consider, through the Mayor, thinking about funding options for this site, as we've all agreed that it's a fantastic council project or a site facility for so many people and so many reasons, and they're always fighting for funding. So both those programs are due to external funding, but are also in detriment because of lack of funding. So if you haven't been out to the Bush Gardens, please go out and have a look. I would like to see us maybe have a workshop where the Bush Gardens people come in and talk about all the different projects that are run out of there, so that we can consider maybe some future funding for those projects in future budgets. Thank you.
Just really excited and thrilled to see the Russell Johnston Award in there. It's something very close to my heart as a colleague and a great friend, and he was one of our anchor points in the reconciliation space. Uncle Quentin mentioned to us about 3 months ago that this was actually, he wanted to see something like this happen in honour of Russell, and I feel that not only it's part of the council, but it's also part of that reconciliation space that honours him and it keeps him close to our heart, which I think is really appropriate because he made a great impact in this area, and Bush Gardens was his absolute joy, his happy place. So I'm thrilled to see this. So thank you.
Any further comment? If not, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. Councillors, that leads us to item 8, and that is in confidential reports. And there is 8.1.1 is a claim of defamation against council, and the second one is enterprise resource planning solution business case in confidence. So would someone move that we go into confidence? Councillor De Vries, and seconded Councillor Hearn. Councillor Priest?
Yes, I have a conflict of interest, so I will not be taking part in this debate, and I'll be leaving the chambers.
Yeah, thanks, Councillor Priest. Councillor De Vries moved and seconded Councillor Hearn. All those in favour? No, I'll just wait until Councillor Priest leaves. That's all those in favour? Carried. Any
So it should be finished by next Friday?
With that, councillors, that concludes our May meeting, and thank you for your attendance and thank you for your contributions.